everybody, it's me, Tom Hinton. Nice to see you, boys and girls, mums and dads, anybody else that might be watching, and welcome to episode 3 of Explorers. Now, before we get into the episode, can I just say we are thrilled to hear and to see that so many people are watching and enjoying these videos. Don't worry, we still continue to carry on making these videos. This one's got to you a little bit later, but we've got some exciting plans ahead. And this week, we're going to dive straight back into our Codebreaker series, and we're going to have a little message from James Pond. The name's Pond. James Pond.
Agents! We've been expecting you, haven't we, Fluffers? Yes. Agents, how are you coping in lockdown? I hope you're using your secret spy skills. Well, we are on the next code breaker. Do you think you can do it? Do you? Let's see if they can, Fluffles. Last week's code was this. What two letters come next in the sequence? N-O, E-A, S-O. What comes next? Did any of you get it? It was W-E. Here's why. It's the first two letters of north, east, south, west. I wonder if any of you got that. Well, this week's code is the hardest one yet, and I'm almost certain you're going to have to get your mummies and daddies and whoever is there to help you. It's very tricky. My mustache. Here's the code. What number comes next? Firstly, 1. Secondly, 11. Thirdly, 21. Fourthly, 1211. What number comes next? That's the code. We'll see you next week for the answers. Good luck, agents.
Whoa, well, that is a tricky code. I think you're going to need your mums and dads and anybody else that you can find to help you with that one. And I'll be very impressed to see if anybody can figure it out. We'll have the answers next week to that code. But now we're going to head straight into our story. Remember, we've been doing Codebreakers as our series, and we've been looking at parables that Jesus told. Now remember, a parable is a story with a meaning. It's a bit like our Codebreakers. It's a bit like a story with a code that we've got to try and figure out and crack as we listen to the story. So we're going to head to our story this week, the parable of the Good Samaritan.
The parable of the Good Samaritan. This story can be found in Luke chapter 10 verse 25 to 37 in a Bible.
Oh, hey there. My name's Jim. And you see, I'm on my way today from Jerusalem, that's where I live because I'm Jewish. And I'm on my way from Jerusalem to Jericho. Now, this is apparently the path to Jericho. Now, as you can see, it's kind of through all kinds of terrain. At the minute, I appear to be in some sort of woods at the minute. And, hey, they say it's a bit dangerous. There might be bandits. So, that's why I got my trusty stick. So, me and my trusty stick, and if anyone comes for me, I've got my stick to beat them away. And that's me on my way to Jericho.
So Jim set off on his way to Jericho. He had to travel through some windy woodland. He had to navigate himself over some fiddly fences. Having a bit of trouble there, Jim. He crossed huge ravines on precarious planks. Nothing was gonna stop Jim and his trusty stick. Oh, wait. He broke a few on the way. Off he went, on the path to Jericho.
I'm a bandit. I'm here waiting for some unsuspecting workers to rob them. I'll wait, all day long. Here comes a wimpy weedy walker now. I'm gonna get him. I've got to be quiet. Oh, here he comes. Wallet! Give me your money! Give me this jacket! No! Give me the jacket! Give me the jacket! Give me the jacket! You never stole anybody! Robber, he got me. Oh, he got me, Robber. Oh, my head. Where's my hat? Oh, my coat. My wallet. The robbers took it. I need to get him. I need to get off this path. My stick is kind of gone.
Jim had been robbed and hurt badly. He lay on the side of the road, helplessly.
Help me! Help me!
Would anyone come and help him?
What was that? I think I can hear somebody. Help me! Help me!
It was a priest from the temple. He was heading Jim's way. Surely he would help him. As he approached, he got closer and closer. He'd not seen him yet. But wait, the priest is about to see Jim. He doesn't help him. The priest goes to the other side of the road. He stays as far away as possible. Jim is still helpless. A few hours passed and Jim was still on the side of the road.
What was that? I think I can hear somebody. Help me! Help me!
It was a Levite! Now a Levite was a man who worked in the temple. He was a good and religious man. Surely he was going to come and save Jim. He got closer and closer. He can't have seen him yet. Here he is. He's about to save Jim. What? No. He put his head down. He didn't want to help a stinky, beaten up man like Jim. Even more hours later.
Oh, I need somebody to help me. I think this is my last hope. Someone's coming. Oh no, he looks like a Samaritan.
Samaritans were the enemies of the Jews. Surely a Samaritan isn't going to go help a Jewish man in need. Jim has no hope, surely. But wait, he's noticed him. He's run up to him. Let's see what unfolds here.
It was a robbers! Oh no, look at that head! That looks awful. I tell you what, we need to bandage that up. Let me take this off. Oh, let's get that wrapped around that head.
The Samaritan man is helping Jim. He's seen to his wounds, and he's caring for
Tell you
him.
what, come with me, we'll try and find
He even seems first aid trained.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, you're all right. Tell you what,
The Samaritan man abandoned all the plans he had that afternoon, and his only concern was to care for Jim and to take him to somewhere safe.
Hey, look, there's an inn. Let's see if they've got any room.
Hello.
Have you got any room in your inn?
Oh, I've got some room, aye.
I just need you to take care of this man. He's been beaten up by some robbers.
Oh, no, that's awful, that is.
I need you to take good care of him. Is that all right?
Oh, absolutely, I'll take some good care of him.
How much will it cost?
It'd be 2 denarii, please.
2 denarii. Here you go.
Oh, fantastic.
And any extra that you need for him, I'll pay you next time I come.
Oh, no problem. Just drop him off here and I'll take very good care of him.
You take care of
Here
him.
you are, fella. Come with me. Oh, he's in a bad way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Come here, fella. Come on. Come to get some rest.
Oh, it's a bit lucky in here, isn't it? And that's the end of the story. Hang on a minute. I thought you said this was a parable. And a parable is a story with a meaning. So what's the meaning behind this story? Let's read it. Now Jesus was out teaching one day, and he taught the 2 greatest commands that there are. Number 1 is this: love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind and strength. But number 2 is this: love your neighbour as yourself. And that's when he told this story about the Good Samaritan. You see, in this story, Jim got robbed, didn't he? And he not only got robbed, but he got hurt. And I think we'd all agree in saying this: Jim needed someone to come and help him. And, well, 3 people went past him. The first one was the priest. Now, the priest, remember, he was a very good man in the eyes of all the people in the world there. And he was very religious. He certainly knew lots about God. And he seemed to love God a lot. But did he help Jim? No. Perhaps it was too inconvenient for him. Perhaps he couldn't be bothered to do it. Maybe he was too lazy. Maybe the thought of helping a dirty man like Jim just disgusted him. For whatever reason, the priest didn't help. Okay, and next, do you remember, it was the Levite. Now, the Levite, just to remind you, was a man who worked in the temple. So he was a very religious man. And, well, he was a good man, wasn't he? And he loved God. But did he help Jim? No. He put his hand in front of his face. He couldn't even bear to look at Jim. Instead of doing the right thing, the good thing in helping Jim, he left him there on the side of the road. Now, do you think the priest or the Levite loved their neighbour there? Well, no, they didn't seem to, did they? But then the next man came along. It was the Samaritan. Now remember, the Samaritans and the Jews really didn't get on. They were enemies. But he didn't care about that. He went and he helped Jim. He did the right thing. He did the loving thing. You see, the meaning behind the story is this. When Jesus says that we are to love our neighbour, it doesn't mean just to love people who we like or people who are nice to us. It doesn't mean just to love our friends and our family. It means to love everybody. Even if it's someone we don't like. Even if it's someone we find it hard to get on with. We are to love them because God loves them. Now, I wonder who in this story you think you are most like. Is it the priest, or is it the Levite, or is it the Good Samaritan? Often, I think we'd say, yeah, I'm like the Good Samaritan. You know, I'm a good person. I love everybody. I'm nice to people. I'm kind deep down. I've got a good heart. But if we stop and think about it, if we're really being honest, if we're being 100% truthful, then I think we're often like the priest and the Levite. If it means that we've got to go out of our way to help someone, well, no, we're not going to bother. It's too much effort. If we've got to be nice to someone who we don't like, or someone who is mean to us, no, we're not going to do that. You see, all too often we are like the priest and the Levite. We're not good people. And that selfishness, well, the Bible calls it sin. And that is something that we need saving from. You know, the Bible describes us a bit like Jim on the side of the road. We're helpless, we need a saviour, we can't save ourselves. But here's the good news. Jesus is like the Good Samaritan. You see, Jesus was always good. In fact, he was more than good, he was perfect. And Jesus, he came into the world, even though we didn't deserve it. He loved us, and he rescued us like the Samaritan man. He rescued us from our sin. Jesus really is the only good person, the only perfect person. And we need to ask him to save and rescue us. And then we need to try and obey him. We need to live like him. And we need to love our neighbour. That means not just the people we like, but everybody. And that's the meaning behind the story of the Good Samaritan.
Wow, well, what a great story from the Bible that Jesus told. Now, we're getting near to the end of the episode, but before we finish, you all know what time it is. It's competition time. We have had 2 competitions so far already, which, just to let you know, we are still accepting entries from if you're watching these videos a little bit later. Now, the first week, we had the prodigal son, so we had the pig craft competition. Last week, because it was our Easter extravaganza, it was the design a little egg and give him a little name competition. And before I tell you this week's competition, we have just been overwhelmed with amazing responses and entries to this competition. So we've got a little video compiling all of the pigs and the eggs we've got so far. And if you want yours to feature, then all you're going to do is send it in to the email address below. Wow, well, thank you everybody who's got involved. It has just been great to see some of the entries. They were absolutely fantastic, as I'm sure you'll all agree with, as you've just seen. And we're still accepting entries. If you'd like to get involved and you'd like your work displayed on the videos, then send it in to the email address below. We're still accepting pigs, we're still accepting eggs. But this week we've got a new competition. And the competition this week is to do with our story of the Good Samaritan. Now, we have gone more creative than ever before. This week, we want you to send in anything, absolutely anything. It could be a picture, it could be a little painting, it could be a 3D model, it could be whatever idea you want. And what we want it to do is we want your craft or picture to sum up the Good Samaritan story. So you might do a little picture of the Good Samaritan helping Jim on the floor, or you might do a picture of the little bandit beating him up, or you might do a picture of people walking past. Maybe you could make like a little 3D or Lego scene of the guy on the floor and the people walking past. And hey, whatever idea you come up with, it will be great, and we want to hear from you. So again, send it in to the email address below. It should come up here, tom.hinton2012@gmail.com, and we will look forward to hearing and seeing some of these amazing craft competition entries next week. That's all for this week, folks. Thanks for joining for the Explorers episode 3, and we'll see you Explorers episode 4. Goodbye.